so much. It is great to be back here again. I always love coming to campus here, a nice standard April trip to your campus. And this actual session, just to give you an idea of what we're going to be trying to do, this is sort of beyond the profile. So the assumption for this is that you already have a profile that's pretty good. If you have any questions about maximizing your profile, you probably want to go to the Career Development Center and talk to them about fixing it up. But the next question is, I have this profile. What do I do so I can be found? How do I utilize LinkedIn? And I think there's been a misconception for a number of years that people think, like the old movie, Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. I'm dating myself here in the 1980s. But the idea is, great movie, one of my favorite movies, but nobody knows it anymore, so that's how old I am. But the point is, just building a LinkedIn profile, just being on LinkedIn doesn't really do much. Because if you're not using it proactively, you're not really going to get the kinds of, be noticed by people, you're not going to be able to engage with people the ways that you want to do. Now, I'm going to go through certain things that you have to do on LinkedIn to be more engaging, more involved, and more active. We're going to talk about status updates. We're going to talk about connection requests. We're going to talk about how to make sure that the data on your status updates, your connections, and the searches is actually showing that you're targeting and hitting the right people. We're going to talk about the open candidate feature, which is going to be a very important and exciting part of it. And we're going to round it out with some idea of how to do different searches for people, for positions, for jobs, and for alumni. And at the end, I'm going to circle back because there are a couple changes to the LinkedIn profile I do want to highlight before we end. At the very, very end, after I'm done, individual questions if you have, please come on up. I will ask them, be happy to answer them up here at the board. And we'll actually take it off of the main screen. But I want to reiterate one thing. I like having questions during the actual session, so do not wait till the end. If I'm showing something, you're like, what did he just do? How did you do that? Well, I was wondering about this. Put that hand up, ask me that question. It's exactly the reason that I do this as a live demo as opposed to putting these all into PowerPoints. So the idea is really illustrate how to use it in a practical sense. Any questions along the way, please feel free to stop me and let me know if you have to answer those questions. I'm actually glad I'm able to do this because I'm going to show you something here. Let's take a look at this. This here actually shows how many people have viewed my profile in the last 90 days, as you see here. Now, anyone want to point out something interesting about this graph? Yes?
There was a huge spike on February 13th.
Right, and how about this over here also? See a little dip there?
It's a dip.
Okay, so I will tell you, February 13th is after I gave a major presentation on LinkedIn, and it really spiked the number of views that I got because of that presentation. The better question that I have is, what happened over here? What was that week? End of March? Beginning of April? For a lot of college students, it was spring break, it was Passover, it was Easter. And because I was not using LinkedIn, I was busy, I was taking my daughter to amusement parks and all sorts of, well, it was raining actually, but in any event, because I was not active on LinkedIn, you could see the dip in my numbers just because I wasn't as active as I had been in previous weeks. And you see after that, it leveled out again to the same sort of numbers where it's been consistently a little higher, a little lower, but the consistent numbers came back because if you're being actively involved in doing things on LinkedIn, it increases the amount of times people are going to view your profile and the number of times you're going to be seen. So activity is exceptionally important. Build it and they will come does not work for LinkedIn. You need to be active on LinkedIn. Another uncomfortable truth I like to share with people is LinkedIn is a great identification tool. You can find people who have incredible connections to you that might be the perfect person who has a choreography business is looking for somebody to help them. It's not the best of engagement tools, because the question then becomes, how do you engage them on the platform? And one of the things we're going to talk about is sometimes the best way to engage them is off the platform. There are times to do it on, but a lot of times I usually recommend if you can find the Twitter accounts, that can be a much better opportunity for engaging them. We'll talk about all those things as we go along. But first I want to start here with the status updates. Now, just to show you on your profile why this is important, LinkedIn has actually highlighted your regular status updates very high on everybody's profile. This is my personal profile, but anybody that you're viewing, they're going to have the last 3, and if you don't have an article, the last 6 status updates will be featured there for everybody to see. I will tell you right now, people who are expert LinkedIn users are going around and looking to see what kind of activity you have, because if it is on brand, if it is promoting your professional brand, that's what they want to see, and they have a much better perspective of you and what you're capable of doing. Again, Last 3 are shown. If you don't have an article there on the left, then you're going to actually have the last 6 are shown there. You do not want this to be empty, and usually after about 2-3 weeks, these things, well, it's not really working. 2-3 weeks, these things start to disappear. So you want to make sure to have regular status updates on your brand. And you see here, if I can get this here, all right, here's the workshop I'm doing here, another workshop I'm doing, and something about the Jewish American Heritage Celebration that I went to a couple of years ago at the US Senate. So it's very important to have regular status updates. People see these things. Now, where do they see them? You go here to the home page on LinkedIn, let's just click this little in here. This thing right here. This is where your status updates show. And when people are scrolling through their profile, they see updates from other people. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're actually posting on a regular basis so that people see you in that feed. The more people that are on the feed, obviously, LinkedIn has their algorithms that they don't release as to what it is that gets your thing up higher. But we'll talk about a couple things you can do to definitely make it stand out a little bit more. Status updates are done by going up over here, clicking on this, and then just entering text, for example. Okay, so I could say I'm just going to shorthand it. Notice I'm using a hashtag here for LinkedIn, because that will be searchable. And let's see if we can get this to go. One of these, SUNY Purchase. It's a little bit more difficult sometimes to find it that way. But the idea is you can actually tag places, people, and things. I'll get you in 1 second. People, places, and things, and that's a better way of doing it. Use those hashtags. Hashtags were re-allowed or re-entered into LinkedIn about 2 years ago. And tag people, tag places. You'll actually see when I did this correctly a little bit before that when I got here and I posted this yesterday, you will actually see that I was able to get SUNY Purchase on that status update. And there we go, Purchase College SUNY. Okay, and that makes it look more legitimate. Again, and it actually shows up in search rankings differently, and it gives you a little bit better perspective, or people are seeing a better perspective of what you're actually doing and where you're doing it. So 2 things, hashtags, tag people that are appropriate or you think might be relevant, or if you're giving it in a particular place. You got a question?
So I have Common and Bear. Like I made this LinkedIn when I was in high school, so it has Common and Bear as an email. Is it possible to change my email for
Yes,
LinkedIn?
come to me afterwards. There's a way to do it over here in your profile settings. I'll show it to you afterwards, okay? If you want to do settings and privacy, I'll show you how to do that, okay?
Right.
Okay, great. So you definitely want to do that. Now another thing is you can attach images to these posts. So if you have a picture that's relevant, you can attach that. Common misconception. How many people have seen people put these LinkedIn videos out now where they're facing their phone and they're talking about their perspective on the stock market or something? It's starting to become a bit of a thing. It's not quite there yet. I see it a lot. A lot of people are overusing it. Just so you know, that video button there is not that. This video is for you to tag a video that's actually on this computer. In order to set that LinkedIn video, you actually need to use your cell phone because it's only available on iOS and Android at this point in time. It's not actually available on this kind of setting right now. But you know something, I'm telling people, if you're going to put a video up there, I was functional. Oh yeah, because I went to speak somebody gave about social media, and she said her goal this year is to post 1 LinkedIn video every day. And my hand was up. Why? Just so you can say you did it? What value is there in putting something unless you're adding something significant to your brand? If you can do that every day, which is hard, go for it. But if you're just putting up videos to add videos, that's really not what you want to do. Questions about status updates at this time? Okay, so I want to show you something about how you can actually see how effective your status updates are. Now, if you go to your profile, you see here, this is your personal dashboard. Nobody else can see this except you, so this is in your edit mode of your LinkedIn account. Now, let's take a look. You see that number 219 there? These are the number of people who have viewed my status update about giving a LinkedIn workshop here over the last 24 hours since I posted it. So let's click on that and see what it does. Okay, right here. There we go. So you can see here, because I'm trying to present myself as somebody who can go to career services and present LinkedIn workshops, what do I like to see here? Look at these people that are viewing it. Career counselors, recruiters who work in companies that potentially can use people for career services or LinkedIn kind of presentations. So this to me illustrates what?
More people are viewing your profile?
And more people are viewing my profile, but my status updates are hitting my target market. because the people, executive directors can't be bad, career counselors is exactly what I want, recruiters are exactly what I want. The rest accountants not so relevant. The point is this is being seen by the people I want to see it. If this came up and you saw that you had accountants #1 and finance specialist #2, something might be wrong in how I'm presenting it, or who I'm connected to, or where it's showing up in the LinkedIn algorithm. This really shows I'm doing something right, because it shows the people I want to see are seeing it, and yeah, location is not as relevant. I don't know why so many people are looking at it in Chicago per se, but it is important to see who's seeing it and make sure that the people that are seeing it are who you want to target and the right people are seeing it, and that way you know you're being effective with your status updates. Questions about any of that? Yes, please.
How did you get to that page from
Sure.
the dashboard?
So there's 2 ways to do it. So the simplest way to do it is to go to your dashboard, which is right here, view profile, and click on that 219. That will just be the last status update. You still have to click on this 219 number here. Okay? I can go back further than that, and here's another one, 640 views. Now I didn't test this before to see who viewed it. Well, let's take a look. Okay, there we got the salesperson and the accountant first, so that one didn't work out as well for me as some of these other ones. But again, the point is, you want to check on a regular basis. You can check back and see how it's doing over a period of time. Interesting, student interns, I didn't get that many people who successfully view that one. But you can check that for all of your status updates for a period of time. And again, you just want to make sure that people are seeing it. If you're having 5 people seeing it, it's not really doing much.
One other question.
Yes, please.
Does it matter if you're a premium member or not?
Great question. Does it matter if you're a premium member? I usually advise most students, you do not need to buy the premium membership. The only value in premium membership for most people is if you're a recruiter, a couple other very, very small issues, potentially in different places. I do not advise people to save the money, buy yourself some more pizza, whatever, get some coffee. Not Starbucks, I guess, whatever. We got some coffee. But the idea is, yeah, I would not spend that extra money on the premium account. Thank you for that question. Now I want to continue down this dashboard a little bit, because there's another interesting thing it's going to show me here. Now, this shows me here how many search appearances I showed up in over the last week. This is 1 week's worth of search appearances, and that means somebody went up here to the search bar. We're going to go through how to do searches later, put in something that actually demonstrated that came up with my name. So there's 439 of those. This shows me where they work. NYU is a good one. I'm not sure I got UI and RBC, potentially because I work in career services, that can be contacts for people who are looking to hire my students, which is also great. You can actually even see what position titles they have. Executive directors, university professor, corporate trainer is a very, very good one. So you get an idea of whether your profile is optimized for being targeted to the right people. Now this is interesting, because I checked this before. I have absolutely no idea why the prime thing that showed up that people used that came to my profile. I don't know why that happened. If something is a little bit awry, if that's what they're saying. Usually it's something like social media, it's LinkedIn, it's something about presentations, and for whatever reason this came out this way. But again, I think the actual results are pretty good, and that's what you want to see. If you're getting things that are completely skewed, if that was like what I always get, that would be a problem, because that means something is wrong with my profile, that is generating people that are searching it for the wrong places. Does that make sense? Questions? Okay, so let me go back over here. Now you guys know how LinkedIn works in terms of connections, right? So if I'm connected to somebody, that's a first degree. If I'm connected directly to you, that makes us a first degree connection. The people on this, so that's perfect. Second row here are your second degree connections. You're connected to her, down the line. And third degree connections would be, let's say, in the back row, where there's a bunch more people. And the way LinkedIn works is by degrees of separation, really. So if I'm connected to you, I can see most of your information. I can see limited information on the people in the second, but it's researchable. And a great way to reach out to people is say, hey, can you introduce me to her? And the third degree is a limited research capabilities. The idea is the bigger your network of number ones is, the bigger your network of number twos is, and the bigger the network of number 3 connections are. When that happens, you have a bigger research capability when you're doing searches. So I want to show you a couple things you want to do with how to send appropriate connection requests. Because when you send connection requests to people, it's very, very important that you do it right. Anyone know how to send a connection request? What to say? Yes, please.
Something along the lines of, I'm very interested in the work that you do.
Yeah, it could be something like that, but the idea is to always personalize it. I was showing Wendy this before. This is somebody if you know, oh, he's gone. That's too bad. There was somebody who actually had a profile picture there. Well, that's how it works. Live shows. But the guy had a little like cartoon drawn on his profile, which is not the way to do it. But
Yusuf.
what's that?
His name was Yusuf.
Yusuf, what's his name? That's right. But look here, I can send a connection request to this person. Let's see what happens if I click connect here. Okay, see what that just did?
Yeah.
That's the mistake you don't want to make. Because what that just did is it sent an invitation automatically without me personalizing it. What I want to do is, let's see, Rose, are you here?
Yeah.
All right. What I want to actually do is go in here, then click the connect button, and add an actual notes. Rosa, thank you so much, Rosa, for coming to my, sorry, I don't need to call you out. Thank you so much for coming to my LinkedIn presentation. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, which I'm going to send to you after we're done. Then you would actually send the invitation, and that would actually personalize it. Now to show you how this is done, I go to my network here. Here are some connection requests that I've gotten recently. Now you see the ones here? Like here's a person who did a little bit of personalization, but I would say nobody really did this right, where they actually give me the opportunity to see why it is they're connecting with me. So I would have to actually go through and see who they are and why they want to connect with me. By the way, one of the things you can do, if I want to go up to Eric Cameron, let's say, and ask him, well, Eric, why do you want to connect with me? Go to Manage All here. So you're in the invitations, Manage All, and the ability to message a person is right there, even if you're not connected with them. That's important because usually you cannot message somebody who's not connected to you. If that person did send you a connection request, you can send them a message, hey, Eric, what's the deal? Why are you interested in okay. I wouldn't say it in those words, but the idea is to say it and try to find out why they're interested. And just to show you, you can actually see my sent. Now this is the one that I sent intentionally incorrectly, but you see here, she viewed my profile. I spelled profile wrong, but I sent her one back. Thank you for viewing my profile. How can I be of assistance? Okay? That's the kind of thing you want to do because she viewed me. She showed interest in me. I want to follow that up. But let's say I have another reason, like Larry Nash led a Twitter chat called EY Careers, I think it was, a couple of weeks ago. So I told him I enjoyed your chat today. He didn't accept that yet, but it gives him the background to understand who I am and why I'm trying to connect with them. I think all of your connection requests should have that individualized, personalized message. This is who I am, this is why I am connecting with you. Don't just leave it up to being random or have people guess. Let them actually know why you're doing it. Yes?
Yeah, and I think that's a real good suggestion because sometimes there may be folks who are trying to connect with me because they see I'm, director of career development, so maybe they want a job, maybe they want to connect to people and that's fine. But at least if you are that person, then you should know that you should send a little note. So I can help you. But if you're not going to write back after I say, how can I help you? That was one of the best tips I ever got from you. That I just thought that was really useful because that you're trying to engage.
Since last time I was here, it changed. It's even more useful than it was.
That's great. I like that you can.
I'll show you why. Let's take a look at this, by the way. Now I'm going to go here into my messages. Now this is the one I want to show you. Here's a person. Do you see this here? Who sent me a connection request. This was the actual connection request that she sent me. After I accepted that connection request, it now syncs to my messages. So there's always a record of that. So it's not just, hey, I sent it and it disappears into the ethos. I sent it, whenever I talk to her, I have that first conversation there and I know what the introduction was. It is more important than it ever was because it stays there. There's a history of it. You can track it and you can keep that entire conversation. And you'll see I'm continuing the conversation with her in order to be able to, and I was going to write something else later tonight, but the idea is it is much more important than ever before to personalize. If you do not personalize, it does not sync to their messages. If you actually put it in there, it will sync to their messages. That's a much better engagement opportunity because the next time you reach out to them, their messages are right there and they see what you reached out to them about. So very, very important to personalize. And very, very important to understand that personalization ends up in your messages, and people will be looking at that later. By the way, just to show you a fail here for messages, not to pick on this guy, but he sent me this thing. I've recently posted an article, social media, yada, 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 whatever it is. I have no interest in this, and I didn't ask him to send me anything about this kind of stuff. So normally if I didn't happen to know his brother, I probably would disconnect from him, because you don't want to spam people. If I wanted to hear your stuff, I check on your profile for your updates.
Or they're trying to sell something.
Oh, they're trying to sell something. I get that a lot of people trying to sell things.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, if I'm like, don't send me things like this is standard spam.
Right.
And to me, it is one of those violations that you definitely don't want to do. I will tell you, one of the things that gets me to disconnect from a connection quickest is when I connect with them, like, oh, Ryan, do you want to buy deregularized energy or something like that? Like, forget it, goodbye. Because you do not know how to use this site appropriately. And you really don't. Because this is not networking. This is selling. I'm not here to connect with you to sell. I'm here to talk to you about things like how we can use our LinkedIn expertise together. That's something that's legitimate. But the other thing, absolutely not. You want to stay far, far away from that. Questions so far? No? Okay. So, yes. Here and then there.
Okay. So, I want to know, like, what is the best way to, like, so, as you said, it's not the place to, like, actually sell something, to sell a product.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what, well, playing devil's advocate, how do you, like, approach someone if you want to sell something that's actually very important?
So I think I would put it in my status updates. You know, for example, I put the fact that I offer these kinds of LinkedIn workshops in my status updates on a regular basis. Somebody wants to engage with it, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But putting it in a message, it's no different than a spam email message. I don't want that. You're just like, leave me alone. Okay, so you want to try to come in a way that it's not so in their face, not so spam-like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Question over there, then over there.
Just to be clear,
Mhm.
so the personal note that you send someone when you request them, it shows up automatically, like in the chat.
Once they accept it, if they accept it, it will show up in the messages. Until they accept it, it doesn't. Once they accept it, it will be in their messages. But I can delete a message somebody put up there, and people could potentially do that. The vast majority of people aren't doing that. So that message is there, and you have that continual stream where you can actually see what the thread, rather, where you can see what the conversation was. Okay? Any other questions? You got a question? No? Okay. I'm going to move on here because I want to show you what's called Open Candidate, which is an exciting feature here on LinkedIn. Now, if you go to your profile, how many people have seen this? Let recruiters know you're open. People familiar with this? A couple of people? Okay. This is very, very important, especially for college students who might be doing a college job, but I think for anybody. Open Candidate basically means that even if you're saying that you're currently employed as, working in student services in some way, recruiters still will know, here's a person who's actively looking for a position, even though it says employed on their profile. Very important to utilize this and utilize it correctly. So let's click on this. First of all, you want to set it to open. Let's click on this, so I have it on here. Now, I didn't do this because I'm not looking for a job. What you can put in here, you have 300 words at the top that be sort of like your beginning, generic kind of cover letter kind of thing. Hi, I'm an excellent LinkedIn presenter, and I'm interested in a position in X, Y, and Z, and this is why I'm awesome. Something like that you put in there. I will warn you, LinkedIn actually erases these about every 6 months without telling you. So if you have good text in there, keep it somewhere else so you don't actually lose it. Okay? This is a new feature here as well. You can let recruiters contact you by phone if you want. I don't think it's necessary to do that because they're really interested in getting you. They're just going to email you, and they have free email, but you can do that. And actually, according to LinkedIn, let's see, I think it actually has it down where they actually send you a randomized number so they don't actually have your phone number. But you can do that if you want. But the idea is to make it more, make yourself a little bit easier to find than you could otherwise be found. Okay? Now, a couple things you want to set here. Where are you in your search? Let's look at the options here. Okay? If you're a student that's working in your college job, you got to be choosing actively applying. That way they know, hey, here's a person who's really, really interested in something. Okay? But it's also potentially casually looking. And for mine, I'm working at Trevor College. I'm very happy there. But if somebody comes by and offers me $1 million a day to switch, I'd be open to that. I think possibly. If they have pizza with it, maybe that would be the added benefit. But you want to set that goal. For most students, that will be actively looking, especially if you're actively looking. And this is also to say, when would you like a new job for college students? When are you graduating? So you give them an idea of what you want to put there, okay? What kind of job titles? Add job titles, and this is actually highly searchable, and that's something that's important to put. So if you're looking for a job as a stage manager, you're looking for a job as a graphic designer or an artist, you can put those categories in, and recruiters will be doing searches that will demonstrate or produce your profile based on what you have over here. Okay? A couple of the small pieces of things here. So full-time, contract, part-time internship. By the way, if you're working a college student, you're looking for an internship during the summer or whatever it happens to be, that's where you can have that open to recruiters who are looking to recruit internships. And I'll get to your question in 1 second. Let's get back to this last little point here. You can also choose other things like, for example, what size company would you like to work for? If you really want to work for a small company or you really want to work for a large company, you can enter that in there. I usually tell people not to narrow themselves down to those things unless they're really, really, really have a strong preference. Because why eliminate yourself from contention? And the other point is by the LinkedIn claims. So if you're currently working for a company like I'm at Turo, they actually claim anybody who is actually logged in as a Turo employee will not be able to see that I am an open candidate. Okay? I believe LinkedIn tries to do that. But anything you post anywhere on social media by definition is public. So if you're worried potentially that your boss is going to find out, it is always possible they will find out that you're an open candidate, even if it is supposedly hidden by LinkedIn, because there's no perfect system. For example, if LinkedIn, if Turo hired an outside consultant to find somebody who could be an excellent career services director, my profile would show up and they're not blocked because they're not from Turo. So you have to be careful about that, but anything you post anywhere on social media by definition is public. Question?
How did you get to that?
Sure, I'll show you 1 second. Okay, so if you go into your profile, that's the little me button here, view profile, which is the edit mode of your profile. This is your dashboard. The middle part of your dashboard is where you're able to access that. And then set it up, individualized for your particular situation. Does that make sense? Question?
I'm currently looking at my education side for Purchase College, and there's 2 sections where it says where I'm studying at and my major. Is that normal? Or do I have to...
So we'll come to me afterwards. We'll talk about it individually. It's a great question. We'll do it afterwards. Okay? Okay. Other questions before I move on? How to utilize this? Open. Very important. Yes. Very important sentence of broken here. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my profile and I can't seem to find this page.
So click on the little circle where your picture is,
Okay,
and there should be something that says View Profile,
okay.
and then scroll down to your dashboard. If you don't find it, come to me afterwards and I'll show you exactly where it is, okay?
Oh, okay, it's in the
Okay, you got that?
dashboard. Okay, I see it. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Okay. Any questions about that so far? So we got that down pretty good? Yes, over there, yes, sorry. Oh, it's sitting on the floor, I didn't see it over there, sorry.
I'm sorry, how did you specifically make your note to recruiters? I don't know how you style that.
Oh, so this would be sort of like a cover letter. You have 300 characters. You can just say, "Hi, I'm Shapiro. I am award-winning higher educational professional who can bring a lot of value to your company by doing X, Y, and Z." By definition, it has to be much more generic than you use in a cover letter targeted to somebody because you don't know who's going to see it. But I think if you are actively looking, it is a powerful tool because it lets you give a little bit more of a personalized message and just sort of leaving it on its own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Question? Yes. Oh, yeah.
My question with that is, could it be something pulled from your summary or should it be something different from your summary?
You know, I think it really depends on what you're trying to say. A lot of times people, I don't think you help yourself by just using your headline or your summary there. I think you want to make it more, "Dear hiring manager, I am a potential this, that," but something direct. I don't believe in generic cover letters, but giving them a little bit of a message can help you stand out. If you're looking at a dashboard of 5 or 6 or 7 candidates, and yours has a great kind of intro, I think that can make a difference in terms of who they contact and who they don't. And again, I wouldn't worry so much about the phone number because the recruiter sites who have access to this can email you for free through an email on LinkedIn, even though they're not directly connected to you. So I wouldn't worry so much about them not being in a place where they have to phone number. You can include that. Other questions? Okay, so the next thing I want to actually show you here is how to do some searches here on LinkedIn. Okay? This, I think, when I start talking about this, I think I lose about 75% of people have actually not used any of the search capabilities on LinkedIn. How many people have used search capabilities? Yeah, very, very few. Very, very few people do this, and I will tell you, it is an incredibly powerful tool. Remember we talked about first degree, second degree, third degree? This is where you're going to leverage that power of the people you know and who they know through doing those searches for people, for jobs, and for alumni. We're going to get to a little bit later. People, jobs, and even content. So let's try this, for example. You go to the people search. Okay, so this takes me to a search board here. Now, I'm going to click on all filters to show you how I do that again. Search here. People is the most basic one. And I'm searching all filters. This gives me the opportunity to set particular filters that can give me the kind of people I'm interested in finding for whatever it is that I'm particularly looking for. One of the worst changes LinkedIn ever made is about 1.5 years ago. They took away the keyword search. So you can no longer do keyword. It was horrible, horrific. And they claimed there was good reason for it, there was no good reason for it. This is why LinkedIn hates me. It was terrible. I think it was before Microsoft even. But it was absolutely terrible. But you can search by first name, last name, company, location, company name, industry. So if we did here, let's try arts, fine arts, performing arts. Let's try that. Performing arts, and let's say in the greater New York City area. And let's do a search for second-degree people I'm not connected to. Let's just see what happens here. Well, there we go. This will demonstrate some people who I'm not connected to who could potentially be of value to me. And what I normally do is, if these second-degree people, let's say I'm interested in this voice, I guess, studio, I would look on their profile and see what kind of connection there is. If I want to send them a connection request, what do? Connect and personalize the messages, why specifically it is that I'm looking for them. Now, another important thing here on the search, and a lot of people have clear this now, go back to all filters. People don't realize this, but they actually brought this back. They took this away, and a lot of people like me complain. But if I'm directly connected to you, I can actually search your connections. This is very valuable, because I say birds of a feather flock together. If I got that one person who really is, has an art studio that really knows everybody, and I can look and check her connections, she knows all the other people that have that. So let's just show you how that would work. Let's see if we can do. All right, gives you an example here. Now I actually can use all these same filters for Wendy. Now I'm not going to show you, I don't know exactly what's going to show up here.
That's right. It's okay.
But just to show you industry. What's that?
See how many, like, dancers I know?
Yeah, well, let's see. It's not showing up here for some reason. All right, let's go to graphic design just for the sake of argument. And let's say, again, we can actually do it by greater New York City area and see who she knows. And let's see what comes up. Well, there we go. The other graphic designers that she knows. And by the way, what do I do if I know Wendy well, which I do? I say, hey, you're connected to the person I really, really need to be connected to. What do? You go out to, yes?
Give me a call.
Well, you use her as that person to make that connection for you, especially if you know the person well. Like, oh my God, you're connected to so-and-so.
Yeah.
That can be your entree into that, and that's an incredibly powerful thing to do.
That's such an important point too, because a lot of students want to connect with me because I'm the career development director, but connect with me if I have people that might be of interest to you, because sometimes if there are a ton of people in higher education, you may not want to necessarily connect with me. You might want to connect with the CDC LinkedIn group instead, because there might be more variety. There might be alumni that I know, and if you see them, then I can help you connect. So it is good to just tell me what it is you need to connect with me for.
Right, and that's what the connection, personalized connection request allows you to do. But once you start finding those people, the bio people, when you find that person working in a pharmacy, working in a hospital that knows everybody, the CEO, and search for connections, you're in. You got a connection to all those people. Now, you might not feel comfortable reaching out to the CEO of the hospital saying, can you connect me to somebody? Then you find an alternative way of engaging them potentially through Twitter or other things. But at least you have identified the people who are of value to you. Now, yes, please.
Let's say you want to connect with Sean, right? And you want to say, hey, we have a mutual connection. Saying like Wendy's like your mutual connection. Should you ask Wendy first if
I would.
You're going to like use her, like use her name?
It's a great question. No, if I want to go to Sean's connection, oh my God, Sean is connected to Wendy.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know if Wendy really knows this person well.
Right.
Perhaps it's just somebody they met at a conference for a few minutes. But if I actually reach out to Wendy, and Wendy gives me that warm introduction to the person, much more powerful than just saying, hey, we're connected to the same person.
Yeah, because Leonard, for example, I know really well because he used to be an intern with our office. Sean, I only know because he connected with me because he wanted to connect with other alumni. Right. So it is good to know what deep my connection is.
Talk to the person first, because you're going to use that leverage, make sure the person, first of all, is willing to use the leverage. I'm saying you will, but if somebody else might not be willing to. And make sure they actually have the leverage that you want them to have with that particular person. Yes, please.
So do you just ask them, like, could you connect me, or how would you ask them?
I would write a personal message. Like if I was going to go, I would go into Wendy's account now and send to us here with 2 shared connections. So I can go into her accounts here, send her a message right here. Say, hey Wendy, you're connected to Sean. I really need to get a hold of Sean because of X, Y, and Z, and so far how are things going, X, Y, and Z. And that's the kind of thing that's a legitimate response. If she gave me a response, I don't really know him, I would say, thank you so much for your help. I wish you well. You know, if I ever, always be polite. You know, just because somebody can't do something for you doesn't mean like you ignore them. Because you ask for a favor, be nice, be polite. You know. And by the way, I also said there's always networking capital, I think, and networking karma is what I'm trying to say. That you help people, people tend to help you. So don't. If somebody has that connection that you're for, utilize that as well. There's a question there, then there. Yeah, first.
Why, like, what does it do to connect with someone?
So then you can actually see their individual connections, but more importantly, you can actually engage them in conversation. You send them messages. So they can see, they'll see your profile and your updates as well, so that they'll be able to follow you. So it's a way of being more directly connected and having them see what you're doing, but also you can reach out to them directly and ask them things. Now that might not be the best place to do that engagement, but getting that connection is an important first step.
And sometimes it may be that if you want to explore their field, you just want to do like a little informational interview, you want to ask them some questions about what it's like to be a graphic designer, how did they break into the field,
right.
You know, what are the skills that they need, graduate education, you know, whatever you want to ask them, but you got to make that connection.
Yeah.
You're not asking them for the job. Right?
Not, I wouldn't do it, definitely not at this point.
Just networking.
Well, let me show you, I'll give you that, I'll answer your question in 1 second. Like, if I was on Wendy's profile, and I was trying to find, if I wasn't, well, let's go to Sean actually. Let's go back here. And let's say I go on Sean's connection. I would look through here and see if there's any other connections. Okay, SUNY purchase student. Any honors or awards. Let's say I was in this public art award was something that I really did well, or I was at a previous award winner or at the award ceremony. That's a great entree for reaching out to a person and making that initial connection request, in which you can build for that going forward. So if you don't know somebody, you don't have that one connection, check their profile. Who knows? They might have something on there that could be relevant. I didn't check Sean before. One of the reasons I advise people to put their Twitter profiles on here, he doesn't have it. But one of the great things you can do if somebody has a Twitter connected to that, you can actually go on to Twitter, and that's a better place to engage people. Because on Twitter, it doesn't have to be about a job. You know, I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan from Chicago, and if somebody posts about the Cubs, hey, I got my entree to really start talking, develop a relationship, and I'm not asking them for anything, right? Talking about movies, Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies. Somebody says something about it, 30th anniversary or whatever. There's my opportunity to engage them without building a relationship, without actually asking for anything.
So
Okay.
basically,
Yes.
my question was, you can still connect with the second connections without asking?
Absolutely.
Okay, but that would be the best.
You certainly can send them a direct connection request, but if you're looking for somebody who doesn't know you, who might be in a position of authority, the better way to reach out to her is to have somebody connected to her who can sort of make that entree, because then it's a warm lead as opposed to a cold lead.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, other questions about that? So, yes?
I'm sorry, how did you get to that page?
So the search bar is up here at the top. Click on search, click on people, and all filters will give you the opportunity to get into the advanced search features. By the way, I will warn you, LinkedIn has very strict limits on the number of searches you can do per month for free accounts. 99% of you will never run into this.
How many?
They don't even tell you. That's the frustrating thing. I want you to know, because when I prep, I like to do a lot of prep when I do searches. I didn't want to do too many searches because they can send me a message while I'm sitting up here. That's it, you know your searches. It happened to me in the middle of a presentation once. It's absolutely absurd that LinkedIn does this. They want us to keep where it can be quote unquote commercial limit. And I always tell them it doesn't make any sense. Some people don't like it though. What are you doing to people who are teaching people how to do this? You're probably not going to run into that, but just know that if you do, it resets on the 1st of every month. So May 1st, whatever number you have resets, you can do those number of searches again. Again, I'm still afraid, especially like April 24th, at the end of the month, when I've done some searches, any time I get this message, I can't do any more searches. Any question? No? Okay. Okay, now I want to show you something here about searching content. You notice that when I posted about my own status update, I had LinkedIn as a hashtag. This is a great thing that LinkedIn added. You can actually do content searches. So let's try this. Probably spelling this wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sure I spelled it wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's do dance. Actually, live demos for you. There we go. Okay, so you do by company, you can see our results for dance. Go back here. Okay, content. That's the one I was looking for. Because content gives the opportunity to find things that people posted. Now, these are searchable by hashtag, by concept, by keyword, and this is your opportunity to see who has posted on whatever particular thing might be of interest for you. So the reason I tried choreography is I actually tested this before. I wonder if it's still here. There we go. Okay, job results. No, it's not working. All right. Content. Okay. So here, for example, I know people that are posting hashtag choreographer. Potentially, if they have open positions or something that might be relevant to what I'm looking for, dance, choreography, graphic design, that could be a great way to reach out to them and say, hey, we should connect because you're looking for somebody in this field or we have similar interests, whatever it happens to be. So content's really searching the actual status updates that somebody puts on there. And I think it is a very powerful way to actually try and find people and things. Let me just see if I can get choreography. I tried something this a little bit before. Let's see if we can get back to that. Content. Let's see if that person is still on there. So this is what I actually found. I actually identified somebody earlier. It looks like it slipped down. There was somebody actually on there. I was actually able to find. They posted about choreography, but I went on their account. They actually had their Twitter feed on there. So I was able to go to their Twitter feed and say, hey, I saw, that way I could sort of build that relationship with them based on that conversation on Twitter without actually having to ask them for something after I identified them via the search. So content search, keyword search no longer exists. Content search is probably your best bet when it comes to actually trying to identify people who are posting on a subjects of interest to you. It can take a little while to get to the exact point that you want to be where you're finding the right search terms that are identifying the opportunities in whatever area, graphic design, art, dance, biology, whatever it happens to be. Once you find those, you want to search them on a semi-regular basis, because when you do that, what you're going to be able to do is find people potentially who connect, who can open those opportunities up for you. Questions about that? Yes,
So
please.
you would look under context, right?
Well, you can, but this actually, the difference between the different searches, people searches versus posts. Posts is content. People are people who have choreography in their profile. But if I'm actually looking for a job as a choreographer or somebody who's promoting their choreography, potentially the fact they posted that they're having an event can be much more valuable than just knowing that they're actually in the field. Which is why I think content and posts searches can be much more powerful than just the standard people searches that people do. Does that make sense? Questions? Okay, so I wanted to get into the alumni, because this is actually very confusing for a lot of people. Now, just to show you here, I go into the people search again. I can go down here and add, let's see if it autofills. SUNY, let's see if we get it. There we go. And that will add that as a search field. And then I have access to all of these other search criteria. I can say somebody in the Greater New York City area who works for, who used to work for Accenture and is, let's see if these things are ready. So let's click on this and see what happens. Okay. Now here are the people that actually purchase alumni that actually meet those specific search criteria. Now this could be a great way to reach out to people because, hey, we're both alumni of the same institution. It could be a great way to build that relationship. There is a little bit of a better way to do those searches. Now I would say the actual search page is the more robust search feature. If you're looking for the ability to really drill down on most topic areas, the best way to do it is to actually go into that full filter search that we showed before. But there is another way to do it, and I want to show you this because it's very interesting. Now first, go back to the search page here. and you type in SUNY purchase. Okay, now a couple things here that are very important. Which one of these two are you looking for if you're looking for alumni?
People?
The school, right? This is company, for example, people that went to work here, that page might be, or somebody who's looking to work here, they might want to go to the SUNY purchase company page. For the purposes of anybody that's involved in the educational part, alumni or somebody who's looking to come to SUNY, they want to go to the actual school page. So let's click on this, and this is going to take us to the purchase page. Then there's a little button here, See Alumni. Everybody get how we did that? Okay, you want to click See Alumni. Now look what this has here. This is a searchable database and it sets up whatever year you want here. Let's say you want to find somebody who's in art and design, and it just went down from 18,000 to 3,000 alumni, and I want to find out somebody that studied fine art studio, takes it back to 85 and has them actually listed there below. Now I can't drill down any further than that really. I guess we do by keyword here actually, that's true. Actually, that's a new feature. Actually, you know something, I'm very excited to see this. This actually didn't exist when I checked it this morning. Because according to this, I can actually do a keyword search on the alumni.
Which is, yeah, I use this a lot.
Okay, I didn't see, okay. So let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Here we go. So if I want Fine Art Studio, General Studies, Study Art and Design, and Keyword Dance, these are my people here. That's a very powerful search capability that's not available on the regular site, You could actually, on the alumni, do that keyword search, which can actually give you the alumni who could be best connected to you here. Again, here, I would just click connect here. Let me try this. Let's see, sometimes it connects directly, sometimes it gives you the added note. That's what it does. Okay, so you can add the note. But before I did that, I want to go to James' account. And besides the fact that he went to purchase apparently, there he is. Okay, you want to see if there's anything else potentially that you can utilize as a way to connect with him, and then send him to individualized connection request. Let's see if he's on Twitter. Twitter. Doesn't exist. That's a mistake you don't want to make. But the reason to actually use this actual alumni page for searching people is, in some ways, it's less robust, but you have the keyword search. You can search by what they studied and what they majored in. You cannot do that in the regular search features. And that's only for the alumni. And one of the great little tricks, by the way, you can actually change the university. So if I happen to know I'm looking for somebody from a particular university, let's say I want to change this to my alma mater. Loyola Ramblers, by the way, Final Four, anybody? That's cool? Nobody? All right, my alma mater. Anyway, I can change this to Loyola, for example, and then do a keyword search for alumni at a different institution. So this could be very powerful if you're looking for people at similar schools as SUNY Purchase. So you want to find somebody an FIT alum, because you're looking to work in the city as opposed to working out of Westchester. Potentially, you could utilize that to find and really drill down on the information about that person by what they studied, where they studied, and what they did. Does that make sense? So we understand the differences between the different kinds of searches, the alumni search, and the search through the regular search filter, which will give you alumni as well. Okay, and by the way, I like this also because it actually gives you these nice little pages and pictures and all those kinds of things. And I think it just looks a little bit better and you get more information. And you're not limited to the number of things you can drill down on here. So if I wanted to go here and look for people who are skilled at leadership, who studied psychology at Loyola, go to operation of education for that purposes. You can do all those things and then do a keyword search within that. So I think this is a very powerful, good tool. I do think that what you want to do if you find somebody, find some way to connect with them that isn't just saying, hey, you both go to the same school. Worst case scenario, you can do that. If you find another connection, that's even more powerful.
The other thing that I found helpful and students have found helpful too is that you can say, attended, and if you just want to go for recent, you could do that, or if they you want to see just graduated. So if graduated 2017, then you can see last year's graduates only.
Attended, graduated.
And that's really helpful.
I want to see people who graduated and say, let's try this here. I'm not going to say when I went to school, because I just did. There we go. Okay, and that's also with the same search criteria that we had there before. So I could actually drill down the people that graduated around the same time that I did, which is a long time ago. All right, That makes sense? Because the last thing I want to show you here that's part of this is actually doing searches for jobs. Questions before that? Okay, we'll get to the jobs really quickly. And the last bit, I want to circle back to a couple of things that are left about the profile that we didn't get a chance to get to yet. Job search, pretty easy. It's right over here. The little job, looks like a little briefcase. Click on that. Okay. You can do the search for jobs right up here. Again, you can do arts, art director, art teacher. Click that in there, search location. Let's see if West Chester is on there. That's about right. West Chester, okay, anyway. West Chester, Pennsylvania, we'll use for the sake of argument. And here are the different jobs that are available in that particular thing. LinkedIn actually just changed this recently, so you have a sort of split screen here where you can look through these things and say, I'm interested in this one, and I'll change this side without changing this side. So you can still look at the different opportunities that are there. You can do it by base company experience level, so I'm looking for an internship in that area. Click apply, and it should resort all those in. There aren't anything in West Chester, Pennsylvania, but there probably is in New York City. Let's try that there. There we go. Okay? Now, the question that comes up after that is, once I identify jobs that I'm interested in, what do I do? How do I reach out to people? Now, I actually did a search on one of these before, see it's still up here. Because one of the things you can do is actually you can identify contacts that you have in a particular place. One that I saw earlier today is no longer there. But take a look at this. Let's take a look at this one. So let's say I'm interested in a position at Global Sales. Okay, I can actually look at their company and I can ask for a referral because I have 4 people that are in some way connected either to people at the company or work at that company. And if I happen to know one of them well, what am I going to ask them? Oh my gosh, I wanted a position at such and such. You work there or you know somebody who works there, can you give my resume in for me? Because obviously that's a much more powerful thing than just saying in general, you know, I'm just sending this standard application. Another couple things that are interesting about this job search, and I'll get some questions about it, is you can actually search here by, let's see if we have an easy apply one up here. Easy apply. LinkedIn has an easy apply button, so if you want to apply for jobs, there are actually certain jobs you can apply for just with your LinkedIn profile. So if you don't have to put your resume in, you can if you want to, but it's a very, very easy way to directly apply, and occasionally, there we go, Julie is a secondary. This is the person who actually posted this job. So what I would do here is I would click on her profile and look at my mutual connections. And I would say, you know something? Let's see if anybody I really know here. I wanted to go to Maya and say, hey Maya, can you really introduce me to that person? Because that could be a great way to make that direct connection, a cold lead into a warm lead with the person who actually posted the position. Were I not able to find that, the next thing I would look for is a Twitter account, which it doesn't have, or some other connection about something down over here, languages or interests or whatever it happens to be, that can give me that entree to actually connecting with her. Does that make sense? So jobs, it is a great search database, by the way. All this Google has a job search board, which they make very hard to find, but it's similar split screens set up to this. The reason I think this is more valuable in some ways is because it allows you to actually see where your connections are, which connections you have in each particular place, and actually once you do the search for jobs, and I'm going to put art in here again, art teacher, you could actually.
Try something in the sciences.
Okay, let's do fun.
Do your interests affect like my hashtags and stuff like that?
We'll get to that in one more question. Greater New York City area, I can actually set up a search alert. So I get email anytime something matches that exact criteria that is a pharmacist in the Greater New York City area. What was the question?
I was asking if, well, given like the interests, there's like a wide variety of them. Does that affect like where you work, like the hashtags and everything that you use on LinkedIn?
I mean, where you work, I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
So like the hashtag.
If I use a hashtag on a status update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that affect your interests? Like for example.
Oh, when it shows up on here, yes. I think LinkedIn uses algorithms that read all this stuff and give you suggested, but you can get past the suggested thing just by putting in more searches. And then it uses those searches also in the future. I'll probably get some search results looking for, you know, an artist who works at a pharmacy somewhere or something like that, you know, over the next couple of days, because it all sort of goes into the mix and goes into the wash over there. That's how you do that. That's how you do the searches for actual positions. And again, you can apply. Here's another thing, by the way. Here's somebody who went to the University of California, Riverside as well. I know there's a UCR alum who actually works in this particular company, and that could be another potential entree into that particular company, and use that person as a connection to make the connection to the person who posted the job. Does that make sense? Questions about that? Because we have about 5 minutes, and I wanted to circle back to the last bit about the profile and the changes. Okay, now, here on the profile and edit profile, a couple of very big changes are coming within the next couple of months. LinkedIn rolls these things out slowly, but this is going to be released system-wide. First thing is, your picture here is no longer going to be here. They're going to move it over here to the left. Your headline is also going to be right underneath your picture over here on the left. Now, why is that important? If you have a background image, which I recommend you do, which I talk about in my standard presentation, you want to make sure the picture doesn't interrupt with whatever message you're trying to portray in that particular picture. In addition to having those particular changes, another change is this contact information, which is hidden over here, is going to show up over here, which is going to make it a lot easier for people to see whether you're on Twitter, what your email address is, all those kinds of things, which I think is a great change because it makes it easier to engage and connect with people in multiple different ways. So I think what you want to make sure that you do is make sure you get the picture, but make sure this background image isn't interrupted by the picture, and make sure that you have, if you have that Twitter profile, make it professional, because people will see that if you connect it and link it with your LinkedIn account now in a way that had never been done prior to this point. Another thing that I think is important to point out, actually change here. Right now they lock you into 220 characters in your summary. That's going away. You're going to actually expand that. You're going to be able to include more words in your summary. More importantly, this rich media content, videos, and a dance recital or a presentation that I gave in biology class, that's actually going to show up on your actual summary page as opposed to being hidden under Show More, which is a big change, because especially if people arts, your portfolio, for example, can go up there. Presentation you gave at a biology conference can go right up there under your summary, and people will see that and they'll click on that. Up until recently, you really had to put that stuff down further here under your jobs, which is not quite as visible. It talks on the blue sheet about there being a static profile where you can't really change the order. This gives you the opportunity to put some of that great stuff way, way up there at the top. One last thing I want to point out, don't any final questions? And another change to the skills. Okay, so LinkedIn has skills, and it talks to the thing about having people endorsed by important people like Lindsay Pollack. Let's take a look what they did to the skills here. It used to be just the top 3 by definition would show up on the top part of your page. Now you actually get a chance to pin them. So if I wanted to change one of these, I wouldn't move it like I did in the past. I just click a different pin, and that will replace one. It'll make me actually eliminate one of these first, then pin it. Now, a couple things they did here that I really, really don't like is, used to be you were able to move any of these and you order them any way you wanted. So if I wanted to say, for example, I wanted career development under industry knowledge, I could do that. But look what they did here. For some reason, they put career counseling under interpersonal skills. And if I try to pull interpersonal career counseling up, it doesn't let me do it. It locks me into interpersonal skills, even though that's quite obviously a job or an industry skill. I have no idea what they were thinking when they did this. I think the goal was to make a searchable database for recruiters a little bit easier. But for me, I mean, why lock me into things that make absolutely no sense? So, one change I don't like, but I do like the pins. It makes it a little bit easier. Again, the ones that you pin, you definitely want to make sure it's things that highlight you in a positive way. You actually have that on the blue sheet here about who you're endorsed by. People who are highly skilled at things is a great thing, or potentially people at your college or your company. Okay, any last questions about anything we talked about? I explained it all perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Usually people don't say that, actually. But okay, so anything else I can help you guys with? Or you want to come up and ask individual questions now? Or?
Well, I do have one.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I guess it's an individual question about a profile picture that I'm very
Okay,
about.
so come up to me afterwards. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, just to review about talking about updating the profile. I'm so sorry, I came in a little bit, so I missed a little bit of that. You were talking about, if I remember correctly, just not adding too much, or?
Not adding too much to the profile? I'm not sure, but we didn't really focus on the profile that much. It was more about things outside, above and beyond the profile, about connecting and engaging
You
people.
were talking, you talked about like adding more videos, you were talking when I came in, like people are putting their.
Oh, the videos that people are putting on their status updates. Yeah, people are putting these videos on their cell phones where they're sitting there talking, hi, I'm Chaim Shapiro, and I think this, that, and the other thing about the stock market. I don't really care about any of that. And unless you have real significant content that's important, I wouldn't be putting status updates in the video mode. I saw somebody was complaining with me on Twitter, saying, but video is everything, it's all over the place. Like, it doesn't matter. That means you need to do even more to make it stand out and be better, because it is all over the place. So what are you doing to differentiate your videos? And the person didn't really have an answer, because there really is no answer. So I wouldn't put videos. Video content that you're filming yourself would be something where you're really expressing something that people want to hear and really presents and promotes your brand in a very positive way. Other questions?
And we can help with the profile development too. If you feel you want to refine it, you want to expand it, those kinds of things we can help you with as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. My third time here. She's actually going to have me here until I get one right.
What was that?
She's going to have me here until I get one right.